Ever wondered how the mighty Roman Empire, a civilization that ruled for over 1,000 years, finally crumbled? Most people think of barbarian invasions. But what if I told you the deadliest threat came from within? The ultimate betrayal wasn't from an outside enemy, but from the very soldiers sworn to protect the empire. This is the story of how Rome's own army lit the match that burned their world down. In the beginning, being a Roman soldier was the highest honor. These were disciplined, loyal citizen soldiers who conquered vast territories and built an empire. They fought for the glory of Rome, for their families, and for the land they would one day retire on. The Roman legionary was the most feared and respected warrior of his time, but as the empire grew, everything started to change. The army needed more and more men. Soon, they weren't just recruiting Roman citizens, they started hiring mercenaries and barbarians from the very tribes they had once fought. These weren't men who cared about Roman ideals or history. They fought for one thing and one thing only: gold. Their loyalty wasn't to the emperor or the senate, but to the general who paid them the most. This shift created a ticking time bomb. Ambitious generals realized they held the real power. Why listen to politicians in Rome when you command tens of thousands of armed men who will do anything you say for a share of the loot? This led to a century of chaos known as the crisis of the 3rd century. General after general would declare themselves emperor, march on Rome, and fight their rivals for the throne. The empire was torn apart by constant civil wars, fought not by enemies, but by Roman legions slaughtering each other. Imagine the scene. Far-flung borders were left undefended as armies were pulled back to fight for a new would-be emperor, while Romans were killing Romans in Italy. Barbarian tribes saw their chance and poured across the weakened frontiers, looting and burning everything in their path. The economy collapsed, the population plummeted, the empire was bleeding from 1,000 self-inflicted cuts. One of the most infamous examples of this betrayal was the Praetorian Guard. These were the emperor's elite bodyguards, stationed right in the heart of Rome. But instead of protecting the emperor, they became kingmakers. In the year 193, they literally murdered the emperor and auctioned off the throne to the highest bidder. The man who bought it, Didius Julianus, lasted only a few months before another general marched on Rome and had him executed. The protectors of the empire were selling it like a piece of furniture. By the 5th century, the Western Roman army was almost entirely composed of barbarian mercenaries. When the Visigoth leader Alaric sacked Rome in 410, many of his soldiers were men who had previously served in the Roman army. They knew its weaknesses because they had been part of it. The betrayal was complete. The soldiers who were supposed to be the shield of the empire had become the sword at its throat. So, when we talk about the fall of Rome, let's not just blame the barbarians at the gates. We need to remember the traitors within. The decay of the army, from a loyal citizen force to a self-serving mercenary machine, was the poison that rotted the empire from the inside out. It is a powerful lesson from history. The greatest strength can become the greatest weakness when loyalty is lost. What do you think was the biggest factor in Rome's fall? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this journey into the past, make sure to like and subscribe for more.